All right, guys, class is in session. Sit down and take your seats. Yes, I am taking you all to school. You are going to school right now. I'm going to give you a PowerPoint presentation on the greed of Pokemon. I've never seen anything like this done before, so I really hope you guys enjoy. I got these cool little animations, in background, try to keep it interesting for you guys. There will be a lion in every single slide. He moves around, try to find him, just to have a little bit of fun. But all right, let's jump right into it. So, how much do video games really cost to make? Have you guys ever thought about that? Because I sure have. Sometimes it keeps me up at night thinking about the decisions that these companies make for better or for worse, and how much money is either left on the table or that they completely, are just so greedy to get their little grubby hands on. So basically, after a lot of research that I did online, it comes down to you can break down the amount of cost into 5 different, subdivisions: development, marketing, licensing, post-launch support, right, and legal fees. Okay, obviously you might find different things when you do your own research, but this is just what I found. Nothing in here is going to be perfect. It is just the numbers and the data that I came across personally, and then I'm going to give my opinion on the data that I found. All right. So what does each one of these things mean? Really quick, right? Development is like your employees. It's everything that has to do with the development of the game itself. Employees, studio rent, the design, programming, research and development, audio, music, voice acting. Everything has to do with creating the actual game. Okay? That's game development. Marketing and publishing, this is like your trailers, right? Your influencers that they pay to promote the game, PR events, which are actually really rare in today's day and age. Store ads, things like that when you see commercials on TVs, or, when you walk into a store like GameStop, which is, becoming more and more rare, right? Then you got licensing and platform fees. This is like the video game engines themselves, right? You got like Unreal Engine, the Havok's physics engine, PlayStation, the in-house engines, Steam, right? Or God forbid, the Epic Game Store. So basically just the licensing fees that the game companies need to pay in order to produce their games and launch them, right? And put them on a platform, okay? And then obviously, I always laugh at this one. You got post-launch support, right? Which is supposed to be, live updates, multiplayer, services. I think I messed that one up then thing there. Seasonal content, the spelling. Seasonal content, right. Player support and bug fixes. Yeah, okay. And then, of course, you have your legal fees, which is like the ESRB or PEGI ratings, like rated T for teen or rated M for mature. And I don't know who came up with this kind of stuff or why they have to pay those things. You would think you would just be able to create a game, create a product, and then sell it to the consumer. I don't know who decided that this middleman has to exist that comes in and tells you, what your game is rated and who can play and stuff. I don't know about all that. So, I definitely think that could be something that should go away, and it should just be up to the consumer themselves, or maybe the game company themselves can give it a rating, right? And then the consumers can have a rating, like the people that buy it, they can all come together and say, this is a rated T game, this is rated M, whatever. But yeah, it's just fees that, to me, you're just throwing down the drain for no reason. So this is how it normally breaks down, okay? And I'm talking about AAA games here in this presentation. That's what these numbers, that's what this research is all based on. Your numbers may differ, like I said, but it kind of boils down to this. Obviously, it all adds up to 100% of the money spent. And of the 100, if you have, say it costs $100, right? Which it doesn't, obviously. It costs hundreds of millions a lot of times to make these AAA games, but say it's $100 to keep it simple. 60 of those dollars would be the development of the game. You would think it'd be 90, but no, it's based on everything I found, it's only about 60% actually goes into the game itself. Then the other 40% is broken down into these other things like marketing, because you gotta put the trailers out there and pay the influencers, God forbid, stuff like that to market the game. Then the licensing fees, like we talked about, to put it on the platforms. You want to put it on PlayStation? Well, guess what? PlayStation wants a cut, right? You see what I'm saying? You want to use the Unreal Engine? Well, they take a 5% cut if you're going to use their engine. It's free, which I think most companies should use, but a lot of people like Bethesda, not naming any names, Bethesda, though they use the buggy creation engine that's like 35 years old because they don't want to pay the 5% fee to Epic. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, stuff like that. And then obviously 5% to the post-launch support, right? We all know how this goes. They tell us they're going to give us lots of support after games come out. Yeah, okay. And then 5% to the legal fees. Once again, I think this can and should be completely eliminated. Take this 5%, funnel it back into the game development itself. So that's how it kind of breaks down. Obviously, this is different between every single company and the type of game that they're creating. But Lion, why did you use percentages, instead of just dollar amounts? Well, actually, when you're talking about different things that are created using, money is a great example. When you have different products like AAA games versus indie games versus AA, instead of just using dollar amounts, percentages are more relative, right? It's more accurate to use percentages. So you can take a percentage and you can apply it to so many different things. Does that make sense? Versus just trying to use dollar amounts because it doesn't translate, right? If you're trying to say something costs, $100 to make versus, and then you spent, $50 here and $40 here and stuff like that on it versus something that costs $1 million to make, then you're saying I spent $100,000 here or $200,000 here. It's much easier and more understandable to just say 10% of my money went here, 20% of my budget went here. So that's why I'm using percentages, and hopefully you'll understand that as time goes on here. So today's topic is the greed of Pokemon, now that we got the basics out of the way, right? We're just going to talk about how greedy these companies have been. Pokemon is owned, my understanding, by 3 companies, 33% Nintendo, 33% Game Freak, and 33% Creatures Inc. Okay, it's like 33.3 for each one of them. So each one owns a third of Pokemon. But if I just say Game Freak, if I just say Nintendo, I'm referring to all 3 companies, okay, and how greedy they are. So just to get that out there going forward. So I have a question for you guys. How profitable is Pokemon? Do you think it's A, they're broke, they don't make any money, or B, they make a little bit of money, C, they're rich, or do you think it's D, they make more money than I ever thought would be possible? What could it be? If you guessed D, you would be correct, my friend. Great job. Yeah, they make a stupid amount of money. It's absurd. How much money, you ask? Well, as of June 2025, Pokemon has made over $100 billion with a B, not million, billion. And I know, it's hard to imagine just how much money that is, so I'll try to paint it in a different light. Imagine you have $1 million, right? And then imagine if you take that $1 million and you have 1,000 more of those $1 million. That's $1 billion. Take that number and then multiply it by 100. It's just, it could stretch from here, if you lined up the dollar bills, I don't know, it could stretch from here to Mars or some stupid amount. If you go in and do the math, it is ridiculous. You can't even begin to think about how much money these companies have made with Pokemon. It's absurd, okay? It's actually the number one, guys, Pokemon is the number one highest grossing media franchise in the entire world. And it's not even close. That's the thing, is it's not even close, man. They make more money than everyone. I'm saying more money than Disney, Star Wars, Call of Duty, Batman, Hello Kitty, Barbie, Harry Potter. You name a franchise, guess what? Pokemon makes more money than it. By a large amount. And it was crazy because a lot of these companies, Disney's been around for 100 years. Pokemon just came out in the 90s, 30 years ago. Disney has a 70-year head start. Star Wars was in the 70s, Batman, I don't know what, the 40s? When was the first Batman comic, It's ridiculous, man. It's nuts. Pokemon just came out relatively recently, comparatively to all these other companies. It is absolutely nuts, and it already is blowing everybody out of the water. Now, one of the arguments that I hear people make online about Pokemon and the greed and stuff like that is like, oh, but only 20% of their profits is from the video game, so you can't expect the video games to be that good, blah, 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 blah. Well, I actually think that this number is misleading. This fact is misleading. Yes, it is true. It is true, but I think it's misleading when you focus on just that number alone. Because you kind of got to think about like the chicken and the egg, right? Like what came first? Do you remember how you engaged with Pokemon first, especially if you're an older fan like me? Did you play the game first? Did you get the Pokemon cards first? Did you watch the TV show first? I don't know. It kind of all blurs together, right? So what ends up happening is the older fans like me, who started the franchise, who helped it gain popularity back in the 90s, we played the games, we watched the TV show, we had the cards, we had t-shirts and stuff like that, stuffed animals. Well, we were very passionate, and we kept this love as we've grown up, a lot of us. And then we take that passion and love and we pass it down to our kids, for those of us that have had kids. So it's kind of like, well, what came first, Yes, you make more money with the cards and the plushies and the merchandise, but the video games are a huge part as to why you make all that money. You see what I'm saying? So throwing around the fact that only 20% of the profit is from the games, I think is a moot point. It doesn't matter. Because the games are so integral. They're such an important part of what Pokemon is as a franchise. So keep that in mind. Now, don't worry, we're not going to go into all of this here, but it's just you can take a screenshot if you'd like, but this is just the research that I came up with, that I found online, talking about each generation, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 9. And then I talk about the development costs, and this is all adjusted for inflation, by the way, of course. Got to adjust for inflation, always. How much money they made, but really you want to look at the ROI, which is the return on investment. How much did they make relative to what they put in to their investment, okay? So I broke it down here, made it a little simpler here, all right? Look at generation 1 to 9, right? Boom. How much did they make? So essentially these are X's, like times their money. So basically it's like if they put in $100, they made $150, okay? That's 150x their money. You see what I'm saying? For generation 1, red and blue, okay? But what do you notice about these numbers, the ROI, as time has gone on with all the generations, silver, platinum, black and white, blah, 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 all the way down to scarlet and violet? The ROI is dropping. Their profits are going down on these games, okay? They're spending more money, and the return on investment is dropping. Now, 12 times your money is nothing to, sneeze at, okay? You put in imagine you put in $1 somewhere, you get $12 back. You put in $1,000 somewhere, you get $12,000 back. You put in $1 million into something, into like a slot machine, you get $12 million back. So, they're still making an absurd amount of money, right? But when they see these numbers, right, when the Nintendo executives look back at these numbers, 150, 67 times our money, 30 times our money, oh, now we're only making $12. It's upsetting, right? It's upsetting. But they've lost sight of just how amazing this is. For example, for those of you interested in actual investing with the market, with the stock market, in general, let's say you put in $100, you'll get about like 12% in a year, okay, from the stock market. On average, give or take anywhere from 8 to 15%, right, in a year. Well, sometimes more, sometimes less, right? So you're not even making your money back, right? You're not even making like 1x or 2x your money, anything like that. These guys, they have no idea what those kind of crappy returns are in the market. No, they're used to 150x their money, 30x their money when they create a game, 12x their money, okay? So that'd be like 1,200%. Instead of making 12%, that'd be like 1,200%. You see what I'm saying? The returns on these Pokemon games is just stupid. It's just dumb. It really is. There's no other way to put it, okay? However, as you see, the profits have been going down, man. They've been going down. And at the same time, it's actually double bad. Why? Because the development costs, the cost of the games themselves, what's been happening over the course of these generations, they've been going up. So they're spending more money to make the games, and they're earning less on those games. They're burning their profits away. You see what I'm saying? I mean, look at the first Pokemon game. $5 to $10 million adjusted for inflation. Compared to Scarlet and Violet, $100 million to $150 million for Scarlet and Violet that came out in 2022. Are you joking? Or was it 2023? I don't remember. Are you kidding me? What? So this is $150 million right here? This? What am I looking at, guys? Please tell me what I am looking at here. It looks like a JPEG, smeared with like a few crappy colors with no detail. Look at this. Like there's the clean line break in between the grass and the wall and the water. Is this water or is it snow? Or is it just trash? I think that's what it is. It's trash. There's no way this is $150 million. There's just no way. Have you guys heard of this little game called Expedition 33, Clair Obscur? It's going to be Game of the Year contender this year, is my prediction. It's made by like 50 people. I want to say, I don't know how many million, maybe 50 million budget. 1/3 of this budget. Half or 1/3. And the game looks exceptional. Plays exceptional. Music is top tier. Oh, definitely going to be on the list for best score, best soundtrack this year, 2025. You mark my words. I wish I could bet on that. And they're just some no-name company, you know what I mean? Making that game. This is Nintendo. This is Game Freak. This is the most profitable franchise in the entire world. This right here, man. Oh, I gotta calm down. I'm gonna lose it. No, where's all that extra money going, you guys? Because it sure as heck is not going into the game. You can't convince me for 1 second that that's $150 million in that game. It's going somewhere. That money's going somewhere. Somebody's making a lot of money. But I'm telling you right now, there is no way that it's going into the game. I don't believe it for a second. No way. So the diehard fans are probably getting pretty pissed at me right now, So what should they do about it, Lion? Since you have all the answers. Well, you know what? I'm glad you asked. I have a very simple solution. I propose 3 easy things that they could do. Number 1, cut unnecessary costs. Publicly, I know they'll never do this, right? Show us where that money has been going. Nintendo, Game Freak, Creatures, show us where this $100 million is going. Because if you guys remember with, was it Sword and Shield? Do you guys remember when Masuda said, they had that interview and he said, oh yeah, we had to delete, they got rid of like half of the Pokédex. You guys remember Dexit? They just deleted half the Pokédex because they said, we're focusing on the animations and, the graphics and the gameplay. We're really putting a lot of effort in. So we had to get rid of half of the Pokemon because, it was just too much. And then we all find out that they've been using the same exact animations and same Pokemon models from 10 years ago, back in Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, using the same Pokemon, same animation, same sound effects. Oh, lies, straight up lies. So yeah, number 1, cut those unnecessary costs, man. Wherever you're throwing that money where it doesn't belong, cut them. Number 2, hire fans. And fans will do it for free. This has always blown my mind. Once again, you don't have to believe me, you guys. Go online, type in Pokemon fan art of any kind, type in whatever you fancy. Any type of Pokemon you like, ghost type, poison, I don't care, psychic. Type it in. Go look at these amazing Pokemon. Instagram, Facebook, Google, whatever, doesn't matter. Go search the internet. Look at the amazing Pokemon that the fans come up with. The incredible attention to detail, the passion that the fans have. They would do it for free. They already do it for free. That's the crazy thing. They do it for free already. Nintendo should approach these people and just say, hey, look, your design is awesome. It's much better than our design. Your sound effects are incredible. Let's can we put your stuff in our game, man? 99 out of 100 of these fans, what do you think they're going to say? Are you kidding? Of course, Nintendo. Of course, Game Freak. Take my design. Do it. If you want to pay me, that's great. But if not, I'll do it for free. Volunteer. Can you put my name in the credits? Put my social media in the credits. I think all companies should do this. This isn't just about Nintendo here, this part. Everybody should be doing this. Microsoft, Sony, everyone should be hiring fans or just allowing them to volunteer and then putting their work in the game for free. It's a win-win. We as the consumer get better products, higher quality products from people with more passion and love in their heart than the developers themselves, and more skill than the developers themselves. And then the developers make more money because they have to do less work. They already outsource. I don't know if you guys knew this. A lot of companies, they outsource a bunch of stuff anyway. They hire little tiny teams outside of their own country because it's cheaper. You understand? Because it's cheaper to do. They outsource a bunch of the stuff anyway, like translation and little animations and things like that, backgrounds. So why not let the fans do it? The people who do it already, they do it for free. They do it because they love it, and they're better than you. They are better than you. Hire them. Let them work on your game. And then, of course, it leads right into number 3. Let the passion take control, man. Let love be the driving force to making art. Because that's what art is. Art is like ideas that come into your head, and you don't really know where or why, where they came from or why they came to you. But you feel so strongly about it that you have to put it on paper. You have to play that instrument. You have to draw that thing. You have to write that book. You have to build that product. That's what art is, you know? It starts with this spark of inspiration. So if you allow passion to be your driving force, oh man, Pokemon could be. I'll show you what it could be. And how does this take form? How does this take shape? Double the development cost of the game. That's how it takes form, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So an example is, the game costs $100 million to make. Lion, you want us to spend $200 million, right? You want us to double the whole thing? Well, not exactly, my friend. You're not listening, Nintendo. No. I said double the development cost of the game, not the total cost, okay? That means if you're spending $100 million on development costs, you're actually only going to be spending $60 million extra, okay? Instead of $100 million more. You see what I'm saying? Check this out. All of these costs, they stay the same. Marketing, licensing, post-launch support, legal fees. You don't put another dime, not another penny into any of these. No. When I say double your development costs, I'm talking about this up here. Remember this one, guys? The one that this is the only one out of the 5 that actually deals with creating the game. So I'm talking about doubling this cost up here. So you're actually saving a lot more money in the long run because you're not touching the other costs. Imagine what Pokemon could look like, you guys. The graphics are improved. Gameplay. Now, I know this is probably just like a mod for Zelda, right? But look at these 2 images, man. This is what it could be. It could be even better than this, right? This is just, the tip of the iceberg. If they allowed passion to be their driving force. Look at this Lapras up here, bro. Could you imagine you're on like a stormy weather in the ocean, riding on your Lapras? A big tidal wave tsunami comes, knocks you over. You look down underwater. You're swimming. You see Gyarados swim by real quick. You pop your head out of the water. You got the seagulls. You got Pidgeotto flying over you. You reach up your hand. You grab Pidgeotto's talons or Sparrow, anything like that, Staraptor, and then they fly you out of the water, pick you up, drop you off at some random island, and you find a cave. Dude, it could be... what Pokemon could be, man. I see it. I see the potential. It could be incredible. It could be a Game of the Year contender. It could be a 10 out of 10, Oh, man. So, will they double their sales if they double the budget? And how many sales do they need to be profitable on an extra $100 million investment? You know what I mean? Because we got to be realistic. We can't just be fanboys over here freaking out. We got to run the numbers. We got to be logical and use math. Well, let's look at Scarlet and Violet. They sold 27 million copies, okay? Which is decent for Pokemon. Nothing crazy. But if they doubled those development costs like I talked about, guys, just imagine. They put twice the amount of money into having better graphics, better gameplay, more Pokemon. More. That means bringing everybody back, every single one, and then adding more. If they were going to add like 60 Pokemon, no, they're adding 100 new Pokemon into the game. Better animations, right? Instead of just seeing, like a double kick, you just see like the hand, the kick, the foot pop up on the screen, you know what I mean? No, you see like Pokemon Stadium type deal, right? Coliseum, you see the Pokemon run over, do the actual animation of the double kick. They double the development cost of everything for the game, And of course you pay the employees more to do this, so make their lives better. Nintendo would actually only have to sell about 3 million more copies to become profitable on that $100 million investment. What does this equate to? Here goes my favorite thing, percentages. They would need to sell 10% more games. About 10%. So they'd have to sell, 30 million copies instead of the 27 million. And 3 million copies is a lot. It is. But you tell me, my friends, look at these images. And you tell me if this game over here, compared to this game, would it sell 10% more copies? Do you think, be real, be honest, comment. Do you think this type of game, if it looked like this, it had, like I said, it had every Pokemon, brand new Pokemons, new animations, better graphics, better gameplay, better in every single way, better music. Everything is just higher quality across the board. You don't think it would sell 10% better than this? I think you're insane if you don't agree. I can only speak for myself, but I didn't buy Scarlet and Violet. The only reason I ever even played it, my younger brother had it. He let me borrow it. I wouldn't have bought it because it looked like garbage. It was an okay game. It wasn't bad, but and I played on Switch 1, by the way. I know this video is coming out when Switch 2 is out. Oh my god, I hope I don't see those comments down below about the Switch 2. I recorded this back in June, when before the Switch 2 even came out. I made this presentation before the Switch 2 came out. I'm recording it now. It's actually July. So yeah, you don't think that this game over here, this stuff, would sell 10% better? Get the heck out of here. Of course it would. Oh my god. But I'm a realist, It's how my lion brain works. Let's think worst case scenario. The worst case, if they doubled their development costs, there's no way they're going to sell less than the 27 million, right? If they sold 27 million at the beginning with what they did with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, then they spend twice the amount of money. Obviously, they're going to sell more copies because the game is better. It's just objectively better. How much more they're going to sell, that's up for the debate, right? We'd have to run literally universal simulations in order to try to speculate that. But let's say the worst case scenario, they sell 1%, literally only 1% more copies, right? They doubled the development cost from 100 million to 200 million, and they only got 1% return, which I think is the worst case. I think it's absurd. There's no way that would happen. I think they'd probably get 20 to 30% more profit, but whatever. Say they only got 1%. That equates to about $16 million out of the 100 million they invested, okay? So they're down. They're essentially in the hole $85 million. Which is nothing for them, by the way, compared to remember the 100 billion we were talking about, okay? Or just compared to any single Pokemon game, 85 million is absolutely nothing. Well, guess what, guys? The rest of that investment, those other $85 million that they're quote-unquote down on, no, they wouldn't be down. You know why? Even if they didn't sell it in the game, for some reason, if people didn't buy it, if I didn't buy it, I didn't buy 2 copies, one for me, one for my girlfriend, no. If none of that happened and they only had the 1% increase, the rest of the investment would be made up. Why? It would be made up over the merchandise, the trading cards, renewed fan loyalty, okay? And all the extra Pokemon they can sell. Think about this. All the new Pokemon. If they added, instead of like 50 new Pokemon, they add 100 to the game. Well, guess what they can do now with that extra 50 Pokemon? They can put them on trading cards. They can put them on t-shirts. They can put them on plushies and stuffed animals, things like that. Merchandise. You see? So they'd be able to sell all those new Pokemon mega evolutions, whatever, what have you. They'd be able to sell it back to us through all the more profitable ways, profitable avenues that they have, right? Because we talked about it. Pokemon only makes 20% from the games. That other 80% would be from all the other products. And I think this is it. I put this in bold because I think renewed fan loyalty would be huge. Goodwill. All the people like you, me, if you're watching this far into this, oh, I think you're a huge Pokemon fan. If you are here right now, comment down below. Let me know you're here on this slide, with the worst case slide. You are a massive Pokemon fan, just like me. I made this whole damn presentation. It would renew our loyalty. If we saw Nintendo and Game Freak putting in that effort, man, putting that passion back into their product, we'd go out, we would buy more of their merchandise. We'd buy more Pokemon cards. We'd buy the t-shirts, buy the plushies. We would buy more stuff from them because they're being the company we know they can be once again. So I think there's literally, there's a 0% chance of failure here if they just started to let passion and love drive their decision making instead of just focusing on the dollars, because it's so funny. It's ironic. Because the fact that they're focusing on the dollars only is the reason they're losing money. If they focus more on the art itself, they'd make more money and the fans would be happier. It's a freaking win scenario. So I'm tired of it, you guys. No more excuses. I'm so tired of people defending Nintendo and Game Freak. I'm so tired of it. When I see the potential, man, I see what Pokemon can be. I see where this can go. If they actually just put the passion in, they allow the fans to work with them, they're more honest and transparent. I see the potential of this franchise. It could be not only the most profitable in the world, which it already is, it could be more profitable, but more importantly than that, it could be the best. It could be the best franchise in the world, If they really let the art be the driving force to what they create, I think what's on the other side of this would be something truly legendary. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. So that's it, you guys. That's all I got. I am the Lion of Truth. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. If you made it here, you are a real one. Thank you so much. I put a lot of effort into this. I know it's not the highest quality stuff in the world because, I just don't have that kind of money or whatever, or skill. Hopefully one day I'll have both. So yeah, if you want to subscribe, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. I do my whole channel's gaming content, whether it's reviews, just gameplay, playthroughs. I do a lot of news on my shorts. If you watch the shorts, it's just a lot of news, a lot of hot takes and passionate feelings you're gonna get from me. A lot of hot takes, man. So yeah, that's it. I love Nintendo. I mean, that's why I do this. I love the things I talk about. That's why I make videos on them, and I'm trying to leave my footprint on this world. Leave my mark before I'm gone, and hopefully leave the world a little better than I found it. In a small way or a big way. Hopefully a big way by the time I'm gone. But yeah, all I can do is try my best. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Please comment. Let me know your thoughts. As long as you're giving me your truth, it's all that matters. Take care. I hope to see you in the next video.